Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. For those that want to request a topic, reaction, commentary, review, re-review, whatever the case may be, video game playthrough, reaction, whatever. PayPal's usually the best bet if you want to send it, or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this time is for Madam Web, which came out this year. I mean, are people really surprised that this film sucks? Nah, it's not really any reason to be surprised. Superhero films, especially in the past 5 years, have gone very, very much downhill. Not only do we have an overabundance of these type of films, but they're poorly written, they're incompetent, they're stupid, they're boring, and even the action sequences suck. And now they're misleading because, spoiler alert, if you see the trailer and you see a bunch of Spider Women in costumes and you think they're going to fight, well, no, they don't fight in the movie except in a possible flash forward in like one or two scenes that are visions, and you don't really see much of fighting. In fact, the three girls are just bratty teenagers that wouldn't trust with a Barbie doll. Let alone my life, your life, or your dog's life, or your goldfish's life, or the life of an ant, a bug on the street. I wouldn't trust these fools. Instead, it's this lead lady of Madam Web, played by Dakota Johnson, that I guess she's the daughter of Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith, but sadly she must not have gotten either of the talent, because she gave one of the most stilted, awful performances I've seen from a leading person in a superhero movie that makes Brie Larson look like Demi Moore or Gina Davis. It's pretty sad that I would think even Brie Larson was a better actress than this lady. Because apparently this director, who's never directed a film before, directed some TV work, and oh, that includes a Game of Thrones prequel pilot that was so good it got shelved. Never to be seen the light of day. It was that good. This is so good we can't show anybody. And not in the Warner Brothers tax fund way, but as in like that Beverly Hills Cop pilot that was made and then was so good that no one saw it. Except I did, by other ways, and it sucked. Trust me. So you have a horrible lead performance. The rest of the characters, they really have jack squat to do. It's one of those films you watch and your mind wanders because it's not an interesting story. There's a lot of moments that you look at and it's either silly or confusing, or you sit there and go, really? Because you get the writers of Morbius. Because, yeah, people liked that film. Who, excuse me, baking powder, clam chowder? Who the hell liked Morbius? And I'd rather watch that movie than this movie. Morbius about a vampire, that is a good guy and maybe could get a superhero in a better hands of a director, writer, actors that actually knew what they were doing. Maybe Morbius could work. I don't see how anybody would think a Madam Web movie would work. The only Madam Web I remember is vaguely in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. And my body just literally shuddered and shook. It went, "Huh?" Like Tim Allen. "What?" Yeah. I barely remember from the comics. I bet not many people remember her from the comics. And she's never that... Was she ever an interesting character? Ever. She was okay in the Spider-Man cartoon, the few bits, but it's pretty much just there that, oh, hey, Spider-Man, you want to save Mary Jane or you want to do this? I'll teleport you to here. But I don't know many fan clubs from Madam Web. Are there any fan clubs of Madam Web? I don't think so. See, this was the studio doesn't realize. You look at the audience and you look at what they want. And then, oh, supply, demand. They demand it, we supply it. No one demanded a Madam Web movie. Just like no one demanded a Kraven the Hunter movie. And that's going to bomb too. To Sony, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know who, what. I don't know their logistics on this. I don't understand it. Can you explain it to me? It's like, well, anything that's remotely related to the Spider-Man, just put it out there. Because Venom made a lot of money. But Venom is a character, I don't like those films, but it is a popular character, at least. I don't think ever... Popular and Madam Web, I don't think has ever been in the same sentence ever. In the history of ever. So why would you think people would be like gun-ho about it? There's women in it. So what? Alien has women in it. I'll go watch that. Aliens. I'll go watch that. What's the story? What's the plot? What's the conundrum? Where's the excitement? It does not exist in this dojo of a movie. Instead, you have villains killed by Pepsi signs. Mike Epps, I don't know how the hell he got in this. He's in it for like 2 scenes for a total of 1.5 minutes and dies. You have a villain that seems like every single line of dialogue he has is dubbed. And I'm sitting there going, why? Why? If you hear that, it's my cat trying to crawl in here because he's afraid for my life. Insanity. That I'm going to... By the time I'm ending talking about this movie, it's trying to save my life. But no, I don't want it near here because I don't want it to get infected by the virus of Madam Web. The web of lies, the web of deceit, especially with his marketing, that even if you were interested and you go, oh, I can't wait to see these 3 Spider Women fight, it's not in the movie. It's for a movie that comes in the future that will not come in the future because the film bombed and won't be made. So it's for the movie that you won't see. Because that's how smart these people are. Yeah, I get the guys who wrote Morbius because I guess they saw the rough cut and thought this was such a great flick. Come do our own other movie. Yeah, let's get the lady that did a prequel show that never saw the light of day because it was that good. So it starts off at 1973, the Peruvian Amazon. And this lady's there to study spiders. She's not a good actress either. At least not in this movie. So I guess, like mother, like daughter. They both suck at acting. Again, at least in this movie. Maybe there's other movies they're better at. Maybe, you know, sometimes actors, they don't have the best director. Well, this certainly is the case. And it's like they're floundering. Like a fish trying to breathe air. Or at least breathing too much air trying to get back to the sea, I should say. So she's pregnant. And she feels her baby ticking. And she's like, oh, she's trying her best to keep me from working. As if she's pissed off at the baby. Granted, they do explain this later on. As to why she was. So she's also with this guy. Who, again, every line of dialogue. It's like one of those European movies from back in the day in the 80s. That is dubbed in English. And on set, or hell, before that, during, I don't know, casting, tryouts, auditions, you didn't hear the guy's voice and go, yeah, I don't know if you thought you couldn't understand him, or you just thought he gave such a terrible performance, but then during the casting auditions, when you figure that out, when you're making this big budget superhero movie, So the guy wants the spider, and so after some awkward dialogue exchanges, he decide, and she's found the spider, this really bad looking CGI spider. He pulls his gun, shoots everybody, give me the spider, wounds her, takes the spider. Now, granted, if you were to ask me later on what the villain's big goal, like what his business is, what his job is he trying to go for world domination? Did he just say, I'm going to, okay, use the spider myself, but then what? What does he do with it? I don't know what he does with his spider powers. Because he eventually does have spider powers. Mainly crawling and agility super. So, okay, maybe that's all that he wants, but is there something else to it? Like he was dying and he needed this. Maybe the movie saw it, but it was so damn boring I forgot. Or the movie didn't say it. I defy anyone to tell me any explanation on the villain. Maybe he's pissed that someone stole his voice and wants the voice back. This is not my voice. Where is it? And then the Peruvian spider people come out of the blue, which is so ridiculous and so stupid. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like bouncing off the walls like a ping, or the trees like a ping-pong ball, and grabs the lady and pew 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 pew. Granted, she's wounded with her gunshots, so you think going that fast would, screw up the wound, but apparently not. And I'm like, who are the spider people, and what the hell the reason for it? I guess they're there, I don't know, with the Phantom, Billy Zane, to protect people, the Force, I don't know. And so they put her in this, like, cave and this pool of water, and they let a spider bite her, and she gives birth to a baby, and then cuts to 2003. Now, if you were to ask me where and how and when and what that baby got to the U.S., I don't know. Did they drop it off at the post office? UPS? I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they put it in a UPS box and said, well, it's got the spider bite, so we'll kind of. But I don't know. Also, apparently on the spider bite, depending who you are, you get different powers. The bad guy can crawl on walls and can do all this superhuman punches and kicks and be fast. He has visions, but he has visions like one time. You would think that, okay, maybe he'll get other visions, like you see in the future. No, apparently he only gets one vision. In fact, in the film, he only gets that like once. But he makes it sound like he gets it all the time. But why is it that he only gets that one vision, but he can't like have any other visions? But this lady, Dakota Johnson, who's a paramedic, ultimately, it's not working at all. She's never experienced it until she has a near-death experience, and then it like wakes up. And then she doesn't have superpowers like in terms of super strength or climbing on walls. Just she can see into the future, which is the dead zone. Why does she have different powers compared to the other guy, even though it's the same spider? Is it because it bit her mom, but then she was born with it? Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. Maybe it's the Maybelline. Decided to just change her. Nope, it's gonna work for you differently because it didn't. Whatever. And why it doesn't affect her as a kid, or as elementary school, or. By the way, that one guy, the bad guy that shot everybody. Wouldn't people have known he was on this expedition with all these people? So when he leaves, wouldn't people go, all these people died and disappeared, but this one guy that was with them, lo and behold, he's not with them. I mean, you would think that a crew going to the Amazon, there'd be people back home go, oh, who are you with? Oh, you with this guy? Okay. Wait a minute. These people have been shot, and you're the only guy there? You're not a suspect? Apparently not. Oh well. So it's 2003. Dakota Johnson's a paramedic. And I swear at times her performance seems like it would belong in the film Clueless, but that's supposed to be a comedy. And those are supposed to be bubbleheaded airheads. While she's driving and like someone flips her in the ambulance off, and she's like, "Who flips on an ambulance? Oh my god!" She doesn't say that part, but like the way she said, "Who flips off an ambulance?" I kept thinking of Alicia. Oh my god, as if I kept thinking she was going to say that with the way she was acting. She's terrible. Like after it, she's given a gift because they help save a life, and the kid's like, "Here's a card for you," and she's blatantly going, "What do I do with this?" Put it up your ass. What do you think? I mean, I guess you're supposed to think, okay, she's awkward because her mom died, but that still doesn't explain why she's awkward around kids. She's a paramedic to help and save people, so you think someone to help thank you, it'd be natural. But the fact she's so awkward, like, again, then why did you want to help people? Like, well, someone thanked you and gave her a card? I can't even fold this. But then later on, she pulls it out and she did fold it. But just, Dakota Johnson, I mean, again, maybe she's better in other films, but here she is terrible. She looks like she doesn't care to be in the movie. Ah, hey, how's it going? I can't even replicate it. She don't give a fuck. And apparently, throughout the marketing, it seemed like she didn't care either because, oh, I didn't see the film. Just someone asked her about a part where her character died for a bit, and she's like, that happened? Well, I haven't seen the film. Now, you could argue that some people don't want to see their films because they like doing the job, but they don't like seeing them. It's like me. I don't like watching my videos. Just it's like, oh, I could have done that better. I could have said that better, but maybe that's not the case in this. If apparently she fired her agent, the people that represented her. So who else? Oh, another paramedic is Adam Scott, which I've seen him in a few other stuff. He's Uncle Ben. Wow, finally we have an Uncle Ben. Because Uncle Ben has been null and void in the Sony Spider-Man films, with Marvel with Tom Holland. They don't even say his name. But here's Ben. So at one point they're going on another job. She has a near-death experience. She almost drowns. And she's like, I just want to go home and watch Idol. I think she met American Idol, I guess. But yeah. So the bad guy has a nightmare that he's killed by 3 women in spider suits. Granted, if I saw 3 women in suits, it'd be a much better... It wouldn't be a nightmare, it'd be a fantasy. But for him, it's a nightmare. And the camera is obnoxious, the way this is done, where at times you barely tell who it is and in the costume, and like the camera will do like this, and then be like this, and I guess it's trying to be, oh, it's a vision, but it just feels discombobulated and obnoxious and confusing. And okay, grabs a person and threw them over here, then this person grabs and thrown over here. And that's pretty much all you get, except maybe one other brief vision at the end. That's all you get for the Spider Women in action. Why would you false... I mean, that is a big bit of false advertising. And it's just sitting there going, wait a minute. So, okay, it's not... Would it have saved the film? I don't think so. But even the few people, again, to repeat myself from earlier, that are interested in this movie, to see this and go, well, at least maybe I could get some action. Well, that action, but this case, just viewing experience. with these ladies in these suits? No? Wait, they're not in the actual movie? The 2008 timeline? How do they get their powers? Don't know. Who are these characters? These three girls? Other than their parents' situation. One's mom died, and one, her dad was deported, and one, her family's rich. That's as much as you know about these three? One with the glasses, I think she took Taekwondo. Not that she showcases it in the movie. That's about all you know. And they act bratty. Brats with a Z. And I defy anyone to tell me, for these three characters, why would you care to see more of them? Why would you be intrigued with them as characters? They do pretty much nothing except perform CPR. That's pretty much the gist of their competence as characters that they achieve. Is following what Madam Webb tells them to do, as in avoid, and do CPR at the end. Which, I mean, you have three people. They all three can't do CPR at the same time. So, whatever. So after he has that vision, he's with a lady. He's admitting all this about how he wants to kill. He's got to kill these three. And I'm like, why the hell is he admitting to this lady, like, that he's going to murder three people? Well, because he's going to murder her and poison her. Now, why he does that? Like, why did he just tell all of his secrets and then murder this lady? I don't know. Is it for the giggles? Is it because he needs something from her? Is it because he's just a psycho serial killer? I don't know. You tell me. He just does it just because. I'm going to tell you my whole plan, and then I'm going to kill you, and then I guess apparently no one saw you leave with me, and you're this rich guy, so you think there'd be a bit more eyes on you. There's a little bit more eyes on the rich than... idea what he does for a living, I don't know. Or I certainly don't remember. Because I don't think it was that properly explained. And he's got this female assistant, which she's still alive, but the movie forgets about her. So I don't know, they thought that lady was going to come back, or did she like, well, I guess my boss is dead. I don't know, go work at a Mickey D's? I don't know. Work at a Denny's? Vidal Sassoon? I don't know where she went. And why is she helping this guy? And why this guy trusts her? I don't know. So she goes to this baby shower because Uncle Ben's sister, which we know is going to be Peter Parker's mom, she's pregnant. Gee, I wonder who she's pregnant with. And gives birth at the end. Here's Peter Parker. Spider-Man's not in the movie, but you know. And it takes place 2003, so you're thinking it's a prequel because it's trying to be in the universe of the Marvel films, but at the same time, no, that's a different universe. Just like Venom is a different universe, because Venom is not the same as the Tom Holland Spider-Man. So then you think, if that's the case, then why make it a prequel? Like, why have it take place in 2003 when that's... I don't know. Can you explain why it takes place in 2003? So they make it seem like, well, we gotta have it take place before what? The Marvel films? But the Marvel films, aren't they not in the same universe as this? So what difference would it make? I don't know. Maybe it's in the same universe as the 2003 Hulk film. Maybe as this is happening, Eric Bana is somewhere wrecking shit. Maybe Ben Affleck's Daredevil's in the same universe too. If so, then there are better movies to watch in that universe than this one. And it's funny, she's given a Pepsi, uh, but she never opens it. I find that funny because even she thinks Pepsi sucks, which I agree. I'm not a fan of Pepsi. I hate Pepsi. To me, she should have had this. Then she would have opened it. But no, like she's given a Pepsi, and like she holds it in almost every bit of this scene, and like she's kind of holding like this, as if she's kind of like she's far away, but she's kind of holding like this, as in, make sure you get the Pepsis. Oops, be sure you do this. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. Like here's a Pepsi, a Pepis, a Peepus, but she never opens it. It's so good she doesn't want to drink it. Should bear Coca-Cola maybe. Because I'm not a big cola guy. If I have to, I'd rather choose Coca-Cola than Pepsi. This is Crystal Pepsi. That would be good. I don't even remember if the Pepsi looked like how Pepsi looked in 2003. I don't know. Who cares? But it is funny that she never wants to open this Pepsi. Evil Pepsi. Which maybe that's a thing. Like she never wants to drink it, and but I don't know. I'm trying to remember what the hell happens yet. Oh, then she's getting these flashes of deja vu. Well, a scene will happen, and then repeat itself and go, what? What? And it takes her a bit to understand what's going on. And again, I just sit there and go, as a director, how do you look at this performance and go, yes, this is satisfying? This lead performance. I don't understand it. And at times the way they do with the visions is just annoying. And I don't think this is that well directed of a movie. Like the bit where after that they dare call the paramedics and she's like helping someone. And then the person she's helping, then she shakes her head and it looks like Mike Epps, who's a fellow like co-worker. And then she'll like look over here. And then she'll have something repeat. And then it keeps doing it. And like the scene goes on for too long. Like we get the idea, but it just goes on like 2-3 times longer than it should. I'm like, okay, now this is getting repetitive. And then she thinks Mike Epps, she saw something. Then she stops him and talks with him long enough from the end of the ambulance, and then lo and behold, the ambulance gets hit by a truck, and he dies. So technically, she's the reason he died, because she stopped him and had him wait for so damn long. Because if she had not stopped him at all, he would have got in and would have gone past, and then the truck would have gone past. It's like literally you talked to them, you talked him to death, and the movie's so stupid. You think, okay, this is going to be a part of a character bit where, oh my god, it was my fault. If I had not stopped to talk with him, he would have passed the truck going the other way, and he'd be alive. No, the movie never does that because it's too stupid to realize that. And why do you guy like Mike Epps, who's a talented guy, love him and All About the Benjamins, Next Friday, but you have him in it for only, again, less than 2 minutes, about 2 brief scenes, one him cooking burgers, the other this scene, and you completely wasted. So again, it's like her trying to understand her powers, and we're ahead of her by a mile. And like she's watching TV, and then she sees a pigeon die in the window, but then she snaps out of it, and it hasn't happened yet. So then she opens the window and the pigeon lives. I guess you didn't die after all. Guess he didn't die after all. No kidding. You think so? We just saw it. No shit. So then we get a bit in the train where, lo and behold, these three girls that we know pretty much nothing about, other than we saw them briefly. One's a neighbor. One, her stepfather was saved. And one is the one who flipped off the ambulance. They're here. She sees that the bad guy's going to get them. So she warns them, gets them off the train. And by the way, the bad guy, he has this costume that's trying to look like Spider-Man, but not really. So it's like if Spider-Man was more black and some other stuff. It's like an alternate. It'd be like an alternate costume in Spider-Man the PS4 game. That's what it would be. I'm sitting there going, so are we to assume that when Peter Parker does become Spider-Man, I mean, are we to assume, I don't know, he looked at this and got inspiration for the costume? Well, there's this guy who's a spider person. But no, you can't actually say that because no one took pictures of it, and the only person that would know is like Madam Web and the three girls. Like, the people that saw him briefly, they either got wrecked and didn't have any evidence. So I guess it's just luck or faith that the mask in this kind of looks like Spider-Man's mask. I'm sitting there going, you know what this seems like? It seems like we want to make a Spider-Man evil, but we can't do it. So we gotta show how women are great. So here's Spider-Man, evil, but it's not really Spider-Man. But they're fighting someone that looks like Spider-Man. And where did this guy make this costume? Again, what does he use this costume other than this? What was his main goal with why he made this costume in the first place? Does he just go around wrecking stuff? Is he a troll? Is he just a dick? Does he steal stuff by using this costume? What does he do other than these three ladies on his mind? I don't know. If you know, please tell me. Why did he make this suit in the first place? What was he doing in the first place? Help me. Stupid movie, stupid film. So, it's funny, he's fast enough to get the cops, but he's not fast enough to get the girls. Like, these cops come, and like they think Madam Web is, or Dakota Johnson is kidnapping them, but it's like, no, we're gonna arrest her, but then he doesn't shoot webs, but he's able to jump real quick and be fast. Again, able to get all the cops but who have guns, but can't get the girls who have no guns. Just the movie will be over. So she's with these three whiny brats that whine and pout in the car. There's no chemistry. I defy anyone to find a line funny. She gets a taxi. They drive into the woods. So she just leaves them in the woods. Which I guess, I mean, people can make fun of that, but I guess if you're thinking, you know, if you want to make sure that no one sees you via cameras, I guess that would be actually a better fit. But it's funny, like, I don't know where these woods are. It's like they're driving, and all of a sudden they're in the woods. You think they're... I don't remember, were there even establishing shots of them driving, and then you have this wide shot where it's going from here to this wooded area? But no. And then, like, the same day, the same night, she goes because she wants to get some information on something. The three are bored, the three teens, so they wander the woods, and within 5 seconds they come across a diner. Which is funny. At least the way they made it look was as if it took 5 seconds. But then later on, when our lead character gets in the taxi, it takes her a good chunk of time to get there. But the way they made it seem as if they wandered 5 steps, oh, and there's a diner. So they get in there, and apparently that same day, the newspapers let out the story of these 3, and maybe being kidnapped by our lead character. I'm like, how did the newspaper get that out the same day? I don't know. Newspapers ain't that fast, I'll tell you that much. So she gets back, she sees a vision, she gets in her taxi, we get a Britney Spears song. It's not Oops, I Did It Again. I forget the name of the song, Toxic or something. Hits the spider guy with a taxi. Thank God something didn't change. She didn't accidentally kill someone that was in the way. Because her vision was how she was in there, and obviously things were different and people were positioned better. What if, because of the fact she wasn't in there, you've already changed things? So what if a customer, okay, since this is being different, they went over here? She would have killed that person's sorry ass. To this point, she can't control her powers. This happen whenever they feel like it. So after hitting the spider guy, the bad guy, with a taxi, gets the 3, they drive off, has them held up somewhere, decides to teach them CPR. I don't know why. Well, by the end you know why, but at that point I'm sitting there going, you know, of all the things to teach these ladies, it just seemed really random that, yeah, the spider guy's trying to kill us. Let me teach you CPR. Number one, don't schools do that? I remember my school, they would teach you, to show you, hey, this is what you do in case someone's choking or something. But, whatever. It's only there for them to do it later. So she has them holed up with Uncle Ben, and she goes to the Amazon. Somehow she finds the exact spot, all because she has a photo. Now, I don't know if that photo, I'm trying to remember, did it have coordinates or GPS? I don't remember. Unborn baby angst. Mom, because she sees visions of her mom. Why did you hate me so much? And then after one of the spider people comes out, pretty much she gets the whole gist of things, that her mom went there because the baby was sick, and the mom needed to find the spider because some bits of it may help the baby's condition. So I guess apparently it saves that baby's condition, but not gunshot wounds. Then it's a whole exposition dump. And dump is the right word. And so you get to this point where, while she's doing that, and now she'll do this and this to better hone her powers, Granted, not really by training or anything, or being taught. Do you think, okay, the Spider people don't want to teach her this? No, she just knows because she forgives her mom in her mind. And now she knows how to do it. So you're not trained. No one taught you. Sure, that's how, sure. Sure. Meanwhile, back in the States, the three teens are there with Uncle Ben and his sister who's pregnant. The sister decides to, well, the sister is premature birth, so Ben has to get her to the hospital. Which for some reason the three ladies have to come along too. Don't ask me why that's the case. I'm sitting there going, why do they have to go along with this? Why? Why? I don't know why. Again, why do these three have to go with you to the hospital? You're driving. She's in the passenger seat. Have them stay there. Because lo and behold, when they do go with them in the car, then a camera spots them, and then do. Oh, the assistant lady tells the bad guy, yep, that's where they're at. So if you had stayed at the house in the first place, it would have been fine. It's lazy booking, lazy screenwriting. We need the bad guy to find them, but we don't know how. Just have them go. Why do they go along? We don't. It doesn't matter. We just need to get to the finale. Just wrap this up. So, Madam Webb sees this again and decides, this time with an ambulance, to hit the bad guy. Not a taxi, an ambulance. Because that rooster, I guess, he's mad about that. Maybe he's looking for that ambulance that he needs after watching this movie. So, I mean, think about your action scenes so far. Your action scenes in your superhero movie, they are a train scene where the bad spider guy climbs on the roof, grabs a couple cops, and in a vision kills these three girls who are defenseless teenagers. A taxi hitting a person. Now an ambulance hitting a person. The diner imagining the spider person killing these three. There's your memorable action scenes. Like, again, why do you look at this and go, yep, that's an audience will be satisfied with this movie? What would they be satisfied with? So then they come across this like fireworks factory. I don't know what it was. I think it's fireworks factory. And all they do is dodge. Listen to me, follow me, and dodge. Because the other three girls do nothing in the movie. So they just dodge. Wait, do this here. You know what? If I want to see that done better, I'll go watch Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. With or without smoking a blunt. Just go watch that movie instead. Oh, I forgot the line that she's told in the Amazon. I think she later tells Uncle Ben this. When you take on the responsibility, great power will come. You know, with great power comes responsibility, but they said in a much more awful way. When you take on responsibility, great power will come. So it's not just something that Uncle Ben said in his sage-like ways. Instead, some special spider people in Amazon that came up with it. But said it in a clunky way. Oh my God. And then also now that she's honed her powers, she could do stuff where in a trance she could duplicate herself and saves the three girls, but she gets hit. But I mean, you think this guy is super powered and kicks her, so all of a sudden she'd be dead, but no, she's fine. Leads him to this area where a Pepsi sign, the P, falls on the guy and kills the guy from a Pepsi sign. From the P. Yeah, for pussy, because that's what this character is. Killed by a Pepsi sign. Just so ridiculously silly and stupid and boring. That sums up the whole movie. So she falls, and she's like fallen. Now she's fallen, but she's not trying to swim up. Because I thought she was knocked out, but then some flare thing comes by, hits her in the face. She's like, ah! I'm like, oh, now you wake up. It looked like you were out of it, but then it hits, ah! I'm like, okay, if you're able to do this, why don't you try to do this? But no. So the three girls go, give her CPR. She's in the hospital. Even though she's blind, and I think she's a paraplegic as well, she's fine. Happy. I don't know, if I found out I was blind and paraplegic, I'd be pretty damn depressed, but apparently not for her because of her power. Okay. And then she makes it seem like, and I'm almost sitting there going, wait a minute, if she can see the future, and she's this close to Uncle Ben, does that mean she doesn't warn them that, by the way, Ben, your sister and her husband are going to die, so Peter Parker's going to have to live with you. Oh, by the way, you're going to die too, and get shot. So now it creates more questions of how the hell did Madam Web not get it so that Peter Parker's parents are alive, or Uncle Ben is alive? Can you answer me that? Or is it going to be one of those, well, she has to let them die because great things will come? Or you could go teach the Spider-Man, like, this is what you do. Like, suppose you don't be teaching these three Spider Lady whenever they get their powers, however they get their powers, because we don't know still. Again, how they get their powers, I don't know. How they get their costumes, we don't know. How are they really at fighting? You're not going to know. Just not going to make anymore. Terrible plot, boring as hell, to the point that your mind's going to wander, because it's not engaging, it's not interesting in the slightest. It's, so much of it doesn't make sense, so much of it is, like, when you look at a film like this, you seriously want to ask these people, what are you thinking folks are going to get out of this movie? What positives are you going to get out of this movie? What is there to like about the movie? Music? I don't remember a damn bit of the score. Directing? I don't think it was that well directed. I mean, you could have plucked any director from anywhere, plugged them in, and it would have been... And I'm talking about like any director off the streets that can't find a job. You might as well just pluck them out. I'm talking about people that don't have experience. Action scenes, there's barely any, and the few bits there are completely mundane at best. And that's... I wouldn't even say that. The three ladies, the future Spider Women, really no character development. There's like a brief little exposition of who their parents are. That's it. They offer nothing other than CPR. The lead, Dakota Johnson, gives an absolutely awful performance. She's not believable in the slightest in any of her dialogue excursions that comes out of her mouth. And this sucks. Capital sucks. Terrible. I mean, this was even worse than Night Swim. Because I haven't seen too many 2024 films. I've seen 3. One more shot, which I liked despite its problems, with Scott Adkins. It does have issues, but I liked it. Night Swim, which was bad, and this was worse. So... Killed by Pepsi. And they're producing with Pepsi. I don't want to drink this shit. And lo and behold, it bombed. Which most people, including me, predicted it would bomb. Just like Morbius did, and just like Kraven the Hunter will do. Stop making superhero films, and more so, stop making bad superhero films. Because yeah, superhero fatigue is real, but it's also more bad movie fatigue. Later.